Welcome to Inside Medical Malpractice. This subject fascinates everyone everywhere because it affects everyone everywhere. My name is Chris Rokosh. I'm a registered nurse, legal consultant and educator, and the president of Connect Medical Legal Experts. Medical malpractice affects patients, families, nurses, doctors, midwives, healthcare institutions, the associations that define medical standards, lawyers, and the general public. Each month, we'll be looking at malpractice issues from different perspectives, featuring honest, candid, insightful interviews by people and professionals with a wealth of information to share. Thanks for spending time with me today. Now let's dive into this fascinating subject. I've been talking today with Maia Tomljanovic, a plaintiff's lawyer with Cumming & Gillespie in Calgary, Alberta. And we just very recently talked about her experience being a patient in the healthcare system as a medical malpractice lawyer, which was very insightful. And if you haven't heard that, please go back and listen to that podcast. It's so candid and so open and so honest, and advice for young mothers entering the healthcare system and advice for doctors and nurses and learnings for all of us. And we talked about Maia's professional career, and we talked a little bit about her sort of unexpected landing in medical malpractice law. She didn't really intend to, but she ended up there, and now she's passionate and crazy about the work that she does. But let's talk a little bit about Maia on a more personal level. So you have chosen, as we discussed, what I perceive as a tough subsection within a tough profession, like law being hard and medical malpractice law being really hard. And I would imagine on many levels, work-wise, career-wise, on a personal level, seeing and dealing with people who've really struggled and been injured. What makes you feel inspired and gets you up in the morning to keep doing this work?
Definitely those people, so our clients and their families. Particularly in the medical malpractice realm, a lot of the cases we handle are birth injury cases, and they are extremely difficult, both obviously in terms of the subject matter and the medicine and learning all of that. It's not easy as, like I told you last time, somebody who didn't take Bio 20 to sit there and try and question a physician with confidence.
Right.
But I think this area of law is quite narrow, and there's not a lot of lawyers who do it. And the people who need us really need us. It's, it's not a few extra bucks in their bank account. It's the difference between them having huge financial stressors and, not the quality of life that anybody would wish on someone, and actually being able to proceed with their future and give their child or give their spouse or, their sibling the best quality of life possible. So it's definitely the clients that keep us going. And while it's difficult in terms of the subject matter and the law, it's not difficult because of the people.
How do you keep yourself centered, I guess, for lack of a better word, but keep your own sense of joy and purpose and passion in the midst of those difficult stories?
I think just the people you surround yourself with, and, honestly, clients do that for us a lot as well. Like, we act for some families who are dealing with what I perceive to be, a very difficult life and a lot of challenges and a level of stress that most of us cannot even imagine. And we spend time with them, and they're laughing and they're happy and they're enjoying each other, and
in spite of all those challenges.
Yeah, so you see that and you're like, well, I can't complain about anything. Like one of our clients or families, they have 3 children, one who has severe disabilities because of medical negligence, or that's what we allege at least. And, the amount of stuff the mom accomplishes, and the dad works away, so she's doing a lot of it on the day-to-day basis. And, I see that and I feel like I can't complain about anything. I can't complain about the level of work or my one child.
Right.
So
it
you know,
sounds
it puts
like you
things in
find it
perspective.
inspiring.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So what are the kind of things that, I just asked you what gets you up in the morning. What kind of things keep you up at night?
Questioning when I have a questioning the next day, particularly in medical malpractice cases.
So describing when you're going to have to ask a doctor about,
exactly.
I see. Right.
I'm the type of person that always runs through those things a lot in my mind. So, you know, anything that's going on with the case, it certainly keeps me up when there's big steps that are happening. It's just the minute details and running through those kinds of things in my head.
Right. I can imagine that will get easier as your experience grows.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Although every new case must be different. There must be a whole new level of learning, medical learning and legal learning probably with each case. How do you hope that your work in the medical malpractice field might influence healthcare outcomes in the future?
I hope that medical providers take more care as a result. Like, it's hard because, you know, the threat of a lawsuit shouldn't be what changes behavior, but at the same time, it's like any other profession, like anything really. If it goes unchecked, if negligence goes unchecked, then usually the problems heighten. So our hope certainly is that by creating consequences for negligent actions, that people do take more care. And I know, you know, for example, charting practices, I'm not saying that it's because of medical malpractice cases that that's necessarily changed, but I know that there has been a significant change, or what appears to me to be a significant change in charting practices over time. And I think that's important. You know, charting, what was the term that used to be used for you'd only chart bad things? The charting by exception?
Charting by exception.
Yeah. Charting by exception does not make sense to me.
Right.
And certainly I think it's a very good thing that that is no longer the norm. And whether that was due to CMPA paying out too much money or Alberta Health Services paying out too much money and then training their staff on different charting practices or not, you know, those are the kinds of differences that I'd like to see made, because it hopefully results in less bad outcomes.
Sure. That's good. That's honorable, you know, wish. Your father was a prosecutor, right?
Yes.
I'm correct?
Yeah.
How did that influence you in your career choice, and how does it still influence you today doing the work that you do?
It certainly, I think, resulted in me going to law school, and not the way that a lot of legal families it happens for. Like, I think a lot of times.
Is that a thing?
Yes.
Legal
it seems families? To be it seems to be a thing where it's like generational, and everybody is a lawyer. So that, and in lots of, you know, just from obviously anecdotal information and people I know, it's often the parent who's a lawyer wants their child to be a lawyer, and so on and so forth. That wasn't the case for my family. Like, my dad never pushed us one way or the other at all. And I think when I was a kid, I was naive and thought his job seems like fun, because I had no concept of what it really was. And well, it seemed good at the time. Like, he would come home for dinner. I didn't realize that he then worked for 2 or 3 more hours after we went to bed. And, you know, he went to conferences and he did runs and things like that associated. Sounds good. Yeah. So as a child, I thought it sounded great. But he was very passionate about his job, and he was the type of lawyer who just loved being a lawyer and loved finding the truth. And, you know, he is a very altruistic person. And so that was always quite inspiring, and he really loved his job. So you see that and you're like, well,
I'll do that.
I don't know what else I'm going to do with my commerce degree, so I might as well go to law school.
Maia. Well, it's interesting. I hear you say, you know, you describe yourself as being passionate and loving your work and feeling motivated, you know, by the things you're accomplishing. So it sounds like you were right as a kid. It's a good job, and it was the right job for you.
It's true. It can be a bit of a love-hate relationship, but it certainly is fulfilling.
Yeah. And what do you do when you're not lawyering?
Well, now I'm changing diapers mostly.
Right.
Although Richard will tell you that he changes most of the diapers, but you know not to believe
I've met
him.
Richard. Yeah, it's okay.
I spend a lot of time with friends. I have a great support system here in Calgary. I have a lot of very close friends, and my family is here in Calgary, so we spend a lot of time together. We travel a fair amount, trying to cram as many trips into my mat leave as possible. So
Yes.
unfortunately, my son's having to deal with the jet lag and the time changes and all of that comes with it, but he's been a trooper. So
resilience is important to give important thing to give your kids.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Maia. Again, for anyone listening, this is Maia Tomljanovic, and she's from Cumming & Gillespie Law Firm in Calgary, Alberta. And we'll be back to talk about another topic soon.
Thanks, Chris.